The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All righty, here we are. Big stuff.
Indeed. So much to discuss.
Well, we were talking before we went on the air that last weekend the NFL was pretty boring, but it really made up for it this weekend, I think.
Well, this was quite an interesting go around, because what could have just been another run-of-the-mill Tom Brady crushes the hopes and dreams of the New York Jets got an interesting little wrinkle.
As I said, could Antonio Brown have quit in a more vast way than he did? I mean, I don't know that if we had sat down and wrote it out, I think that's exactly how it would have played out. It was amazing, and I don't know what to even say about it.
He ripped off that fucking jersey.
Yeah.
Ripped off his shoulder pads with the jersy.
Yeah, with the jersey, yeah.
Well, did you guys
after Mike Evans tried to talk him down, and then he was just like, "Nah, fuck it, I'm done."
Yeah, I know. You can like a lot of the videos out there only really show once he's in the end zone, like leaving. But
yeah,
if you
I think
can
it's only
find
like two angles I've seen of the sideline.
There's one angle, a fan shot, where you see him talking to Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, yeah,
and he's trying to like talk him into helping him take his jersey off, and Evans won't do it, which I think is pretty funny.
Well, the reasoning, I guess, was that he thought his ankle was still hurt, and that he was being told to go back into the game by Bruce Arians, and he said, "No, I'm not healthy." He didn't practice, I guess, most of last week, and yeah, so after he was told you either get in the game or you get out of here, he said, "I will choose option B and lose my shit." But
what a calm, collected way of describing what happened.
Well, the thing is, I guess, yeah, Bruce Arians said get out, but not. I don't think Bruce Arians meant like get the hell off the field and onto an Uber and to the airport. I think he just mean like go over there. But Antonio Brown took that as like, fine, I'll take my rope.
I mean,
I'll get the hell out of here.
Seen the I mean, you know, with Twitter, everything's your mileage may vary, but there's a lot of people that think that after that hit from the Bengals game years ago, when he
perfect
was playing for Pittsburgh,
perfect,
that like he's never been the same since. But
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people go, no, he's been nuts from day one. So I don't really know.
I think I've seen that, and I was almost willing to buy into it as like, okay, I don't definitely CTE with this crazy guy. But I've seen enough like ex-players kind of come out and be like, that's kind of
who he is.
No, ex-players saying that's kind of irresponsible of people to just say it's CTE.
And I mean, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I haven't followed Antonio Brown's career in depth, so maybe someone who is a bit more familiar could correct me, but it kind of seems like he was always like a bit eccentric. Like, and then maybe, you know, just the fact that he became incredibly successful and famous, like some people don't take that in the best way, and some people
did you happen to
crazy
see
people.
Did you happen to see the cameo that somebody put out of him today?
No.
Somebody, like, he's on Cameo as anybody that's slightly famous is,
of course.
And so he's in the back of some SUV, I assume another Uber. And somebody was like, "Hey, can you send a cameo for my buddy because this might be Ben Roethlisberger's last game in Pittsburgh or something?" And he was kind of like slurring some words and making up some words and things of that nature. And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's a guy with his head on, completely screwed tight."
I mean, I don't think that. I mean, not that every CTE case is alike at all, but I feel like most of the CTE stories we've heard are more about like anger and temper and rage.
Yeah,
and depression.
Depression, suicidal thought. Like, it's rarely do you see like just CTE causes someone to go batshit insane.
Yeah, it's not like when he got hit, it like dislodged some like thing in his brain that suddenly upped the crazometer. Like he just
it's not like Antonio Brown, perfectly sane person until that hit.
Right.
No, I think I agree with Mike. I think he has always been kind of just on the eccentric and wild side. And I mean, getting like he was on cover Madden. He was, given this huge contract, and he's basically been doing anything he's wanted with impunity. Whether it's bleaching his mustache or like just
changing his name to Mr. Big Chest.
Yeah, going like to multiple teams, getting multiple chances, and everybody makes these threats of like, oh, that's we're going to keep an eye on him and stuff, and it never happens. Like even Arians himself said that he's on a tight leash, and then he gets suspended for 3 games for COVID and gets welcomed right back in.
Well, the thing about
real quick, just because I went to go find the made up word he used in this video, he was like basically saying, we don't know that Ben is playing his last game as a Steeler tonight or whatever, and so we can't speculate, we can't recollate on Ben's future. And it's like, what the hell is
recollate? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to recollate on his future either. That's just a dangerous irresponsible. And speculating is one thing, but when you start regulating, that's bad. That's not a good thing to do. You can get caught with your pants down easy if you regulate or whatever the hell the word is. But he's a character. I mean, what was it, Hard Knocks back when he was with the Raiders? Remember he wouldn't play because
when he froze his feet.
And
they wouldn't let him use his, like, they couldn't find an old the same model of helmet. So he painted his old Steelers helmet silver.
Okay, yeah. So I have looked up recollate on Urban Dictionary since there's no actual definition for it anywhere.
Oh, okay.
There's several of them. The top is from 2009. It is a combination of relate and recall. The sample quote is, "I remember this one time the 5-0 was hassling me over some dumb shit. Son, I can recollate. I remember this one time I got pulled over. They beat the fuck out of my ass." So I guess it's kind of like I recall and I can relate.
All right.
Okay, so even though it's sort of a real word, he still didn't use it in the proper context.
Correct. But then the second definition, which makes more sense, is recollate. This is not a real word. If you use this word, you probably made a mistake. Do not look this word up in a real dictionary, as it will not be there.
Okay.
Interesting.
By the way, if you too want Antonio Brown to recollate on something for you, it's $300. Cameo.
Pass.
Wow, that seems cheap. I mean, for a guy that, like, why would a guy with that?
It used to be $500 at some point. So he's come down in price.
Okay, real quick, I wanted to ask this before I forget. So does he end up in the USFL this spring?
Oh God, I hope so.
I don't know. Well, because I think
not.
Well, I think the standard for this, like, speculation is the Johnny Manziel kind of thing, to where it's like, how far does he necessarily fall before? I think that he's not done in the NFL. Some team is going to sign him. He's not done.
I think he's done in the NFL.
I think he's done. I think
that's his. When it comes to us as members of the Chris Kramer Sports Logo community, are very familiar with the Blaze of Glory.
Yeah, that's his. You all suck, and my concepts were great all along. Fuck you.
This is up there among the great Blaze of Glory exits of all time. Like,
yes.
The Coyotes will skate on the frozen blood of the unbelievers.
Non-believers, yeah.
That's probably the best one ever, but AB's right up there. Frozen blood of the non-believers.
At least he's a guy that we know. It's not like the guys that you're like, wait, you were on the boards? Who are you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this. I don't know. Like, okay, here's why I think he's done. Like, when he came onto the Bucs last season, as Andy said, Arians said, was like, he's on a tight leash. We're gonna keep an eye on him. And I mean, last season after he joined the Bucs, there really wasn't that much craziness. And then they went to the Super Bowl and even caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. And I think, and I don't know how many people share this, but in my mind, it's sort of like, dude won a Super Bowl, and you can't even necessarily say he was carried to one because he caught a touchdown in the game. So he has an argument like, no, man, I was like a part of it. Yeah. And I would have figured, okay, like he's got a Super Bowl, like he's accomplished the dream. He is like, I don't know, maybe just chill out, like stop being a crazy person. And then, this year with the fake COVID vax cards and then
Speaking of when it came to his like exit and the memes, did you see any of the memes of him?
Oh yeah,
yeah. One of them was him when he was doing the big wave in the end zone as he was leaving. Somebody superimposed a giant vaccination card in his hand.
That was good.
I think that was my favorite one.
No, I think he's going to get a training camp somewhere.
Really?
I think, yeah, it may not be this next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. If some team brought him in, veteran minimum, training
when he commits himself to Jesus, the Houston Texans will take him next year, right?
Well, I was going to say, or if he does the "I went and got help and I'm okay now" type of thing, the rehabilitation tour, basically. Then maybe, but as it stands right now, I just can't see it happening. I'll take that back. It depends. We know in the National Football League, if you can play, they'll find a way to get you in there.
Yeah,
and he can play.
He brings a lot of bad headlines with him. It's not like it kind of reminds me of Brandon Marshall a little bit. Brandon Marshall was kind of not near at all to this level of eccentricity that AB has, but it was just like a constant distraction. There's always something. And it was offset mildly by the play on the field. But AB, he can still play. I don't think it's never been an issue of his performance on the field. It's just a matter of like, do you want to sell some jerseys? I think, look at Tebow. I think it'll be a very similar to Tebow thing to where he gets brought in. He'll sell a shitload of jerseys for, I don't know, the Red Wolves or something, some weird ass organization will bring him in. And then he'll be gone because the minute he gets some cameras in front of him, he'll do some stupid shit and then he'll be let go.
I was reading an article today on The Ringer that he's had a lot of issues with women and stuff too over the years. Not in a good way.
No, there was tons of video. Like I think it was last summer, 2 summers ago. He had that video of him like throwing shit off his balcony, or this girl throwing shit off her balcony at him, and
so he threw shit off of his balcony and nearly crushed an elderly man and his grandson.
That's right.
Yeah. And then he was yelling at the cops because they said that I didn't quite understand what was going on. The best I could make of it was that they had come to take one of his kids for his girlfriend and his kid for some reason because they wanted out and he wouldn't let him out. And it was.
To be fair, I would not trust Antonio Brown with the care of another human being.
I hope he doesn't have a cat or anything like that.
Yeah,
no, he just has his personal chef who ratted on him about the vax card.
Which you got to wonder
because he didn't pay him.
Right? Yeah. What a guy! But he just went. Well, like Zach put it best, blaze of glory. It's the best one I've ever seen on an NFL field. I got to say that. I don't know if you can top that. Can you? I guess if he took off all of his clothes, maybe then that would have been even more hilarious. But I find it amusing because I just love seeing the world burn. I suppose I don't know.
Mean, it could have been a much bigger spectacle. He could have run in the middle of the field, interrupted play, and thrown his helmet at Arians and mooned him or tore his dick out or something. There's all sorts of. It could have been crazy.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we heard plenty of things that were, I think, unconfirmed at the time. But I read a story. I don't know if this one was proven untrue or not, where the state troopers thought he was like a fan on the field, and then he asked one of them for a ride to the airport, and instead he went and got the Uber, which the Uber driver took video of him. Man.
Whatever,
craziness. It's honestly a shame that it happened because it overshadowed a great football Sunday. One of the best one we've had in several weeks.
I just got to bring this up because I sent a text to you guys last night of it was a gif of a guy, like a shirtless guy at the airport trying to get on a plane, and AB is like, it's like so crazy that Andy's like, is that legit? Because it really could have been.
I mean, the guy was in good shape. He looked like plausibly like AB, and I didn't watch. I was
similar haircut, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I could see AB doing this to where he just shows up and is like trying to get on the plane because I'm sure it's a private plane, and it's just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't know.
That's what I mean. I mean, it with that gif and everything, it was just you just could see it happening where it was so ridiculous, but. Any other player you go of course, obviously that's not actually him, but with him you go, you never know. And I just thought it was funny. And then I found another one of him like hanging on the wing. Well, it wasn't him, but
Tom has asked for compassion.
Well, okay. I'm fine with that. If he really does have mental issues, then I would of course want him to get help. Just entertain me for a little while longer first, I suppose. I
guess the idea is like, okay, so if Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, I guess more specifically Tom Brady, if Tom's the one going out here asking for compassion, if like they know AB well enough that they can be like, hey, like, come on guys, he's going through some stuff. Like you've got, like, I understand them not disclosing it, because if they know, then that's a personal matter. That's not for them to disclose. But at the same time, maybe in a more personal agency, they should try to get him help instead of trying to get him roster spots.
Yeah.
I'm sure that the NFL has some sort of program where, like, if you need therapy, they'll hook you up.
Yeah, he's got to want it too, though. And I don't know.
It's a two-way thing. Yeah.
The guy that we saw yesterday, I think you would have a tough time convincing him that he needs help.
To AB, I think the main issue above everything, mental illness and all that aside, AB is a dumb man. I'm not trying to be like mean or whatever, but like, he's amazing when it comes to being on a football field, but anything off the football field. Those like big, it was like a red and a blue plastic toy with the shape holes that you would put the plastic circle in. And he'd sit there with hours for one of those things trying to figure out how it worked. Like, dude is dumb as fuck. And he is just an excellent football player. And I think he's just a very low-watt bulb that happens to be good at football. And
I don't know any guy that can come up with Reculate. Come on, man. Is he that?
I mean, I'm not gonna. That's just a vernacular language thing. I mean, if you listen to him talk on Hard Knocks or whatever, I mean, he's not exactly a scholar. But none of these guys
I don't think his next stop is going to be, say, tenured professor at Harvard after this. Let's put it that way.
Well, no, and you don't need to be smart to be a good football player. But I mean, there's certainly like where dumb meets crazy and famous and rich. Like it just gets a little.
Speaking of all that, before we actually get on the actual football, because I looked up Antonio Brown's cameo, I'm now looking at the other pro football player cameos.
Ooh, nice.
Who do you think is the most expensive cameo for a pro football player right now?
Is it an active player?
It is an active player.
Aaron Rodgers.
No. Would Aaron
Rodgers be quarterback this last weekend?
He what?
He was a quarterback this past weekend in the NFL.
Is it Mike Glennon?
Trey Lance.
Really? How much?
$1,500.
God damn.
$1,500 for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Where the fuck does he get off?
Then we have two guys at $1,000 each, and you would never get these in 1,000 years, so I'm not going to make you guess. Josh Norman.
Wow.
Remember him?
Is he still in the league?
I don't think so.
He was a cornerback, right?
He was really good for a while.
Yeah.
He had a big feud with OBJ, I think.
Right.
At some point when he was with the Panthers. Yeah. Pierre Garçon. Remember him?
Yeah.
He's also $1,000. Greg, this one's for you. Maurice Claret, $999.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
It's about 900.
Tyreek Hill.
I met Maurice Claret in person a couple of years ago at the Ohio State Fair. That dude stumped for an answer if you say hello. I can't imagine him going.
Did you see him at a pie eating contest or a funnel cake stand or something?
No, actually, he was. It was one of those Commerce buildings, and he was there trying to sell his book, and it was him. I felt bad for him because I mean the guy's kind of an Ohio State legend, but he's also kind of persona non grata with the Buckeye Nation. So he's standing there by himself, and next to him were these two guys that played. They were like second string defensive backs, and they had this huge line of people behind, from that table. So but yeah,
for what it's worth, he has no reviews on his profile.
Probably because he hasn't got anybody to buy it.
Yeah. Tyreek Hill $777. Troy Aikman $750. Ezekiel Elliott $750.
Troy
Drew
Aikman's
Brees,
on there?
yeah,
That's
Troy
surprising to me. I mean, how much?
Drew Brees is also $750, but his all go to charity.
All right, maybe Aikman does the same thing. I don't know because I can't
Emmitt
imagine.
Smith $725. Montana $699.
Oh, you know what? If I had the money, I would get that just to have him say to Mike, you know what? I'm still better than Tom Brady.
Let's see. I saw one that the little Brett Favre is $400. And then Andy, for you, Matt Forte, $350.
Hey, he's a good player.
Yeah, I like Matt.
Yeah,
he's a hell of a running back.
He was.
Anyway,
so Antonio Brown, that was fun for sure. Where do we want to go first? Andy's got a thing he wants to talk about. Mike Glennon. You want to do that now? Or you want to wait?
I brought up Mike Glennon as sort of a way to transition into that. Andy, you asked for 2 minutes to discuss Mike Glennon?
Yeah, it won't even take that long. Basically,
okay.
Mike Glennon, I hate Mike Glennon. I have always hated Mike Glennon. Always. There's never been a second that has gone by where I've liked Mike Glennon or wanted to watch Mike Glennon play football. I wouldn't want to watch him do the dishes. I don't like Mike Glennon. I don't want to be associated with Mike Glennon. He was terrible with the Buccaneers. And naturally, my dumbass franchise that I root for signed him to a 3-year deal where they bid against themselves for like $20 million. And they, he was fucking atrocious. He was horrible as a Bear. It was embarrassing that he was on my favorite team. It sickened me. And yet, this guy has always been garbage, like objectively shit. And yet he keeps getting signed. The Raiders, the Giants, probably a couple other franchises in there that I'm forgetting. But Mike Glennon is dog shit. He threw for with sacks. He threw for negative 10 yards.
Yeah, with sacks.
With sacks. Yeah,
he was 4 for 11 for 24 yards, 2 INTs, 4 sacks for 34 yards.
Yeah. And
it's not like the 24 yards is anything to write home about. If you take away the sacks, it's that's
no. I don't know why they include the sacks and the passing yardage in the NFL. As somebody that takes stats when I do my games, I always was told to include it as a running stat. But
it's considered a passing play and yardage. I don't know.
Well, regardless of whatever the reason, it does give us the opportunity to laugh at the New York Giants having a total of negative 10 passing yards.
No, see, that's correct. Yeah.
And the final thing with Mike Glennon is just he is a weirdly proportioned, hideous man.
He's got a long neck.
He's got a long neck. He's got no hair. It grows in weird patches on his hideous fucking face and body.
I love how this turned it. I love how this has mutated from he's a bad player to he's a bad player my team unfortunately signed to he is a monster man.
He's just, he's got this shitty teeth and his voice is dumb. And his eyes are kind of wonky. He's got that dumb glazed over look of a guy who can't figure out how to work the screen at a gas station. I fucking hate him. And I mean, I hate Aaron Rodgers, but I begrudgingly respect Aaron Rodgers. Mike Glennon, I just flat out hate him. And I hope the league stops paying this motherfucker because he can't play. He sucks ass and he's stupid. And I don't like him.
Negative 10 yards. There you go.
Technically, based on the ESPN QBR, not passer rating, but QBR, David Montgomery had a higher passer rate or QBR in that game than Mike Glennon did.
He was over 1 with a pick.
Over 1 with a pick. He had a QBR of 0.6, and Glennon was 0.00.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure. Gary, are you saying that he is the modern day Sam Bradford? Sam Bradford was heads and tails better than Mike Glennon.
Yeah, way better.
And as far as Kyle Orton goes, Kyle Orton he was a gritty, tough dude, and he made some big plays in his career.
Kyle Orton had like surprisingly decent runs on both the Bears and the Cowboys, from what I can remember.
Didn't he play for the Broncos too? Or am I thinking of Jake?
Yeah,
Paul?
no, he was part of the Jay Cutler trade in 2006 or whatever.
Didn't Orton take the Broncos to the playoffs one of those years?
He was I think he threw I think one of his first years, if not the first year he was in Denver, he threw a game-winning playoff pass, I think. It was one of those long, wild-ass plays that I think went to the end zone.
I'll just say this. If I've given a choice between peak Mike Glennon and peak Kyle Orton, give me Kyle Orton every time.
Every time. Yeah. Kyle Orton was one of those dudes who his first year with the Bears, and I don't mean to dwell on all this Bears shit, but he got sacked like a motherfucker, and he got hit all the time, but he was a good game manager quarterback. You know, I don't know. Credit to Kyle Orton. I don't miss him. I don't want him. I'm not one of those dumbasses that bring back Kyle Orton as QB coach for the Bears.
We're not going to put him in the Hall of Fame or anything, but he is definitely.
He's no Ken Anderson. Let's put it that way.
And the Cardinals signed Mike Glennon. What the fuck? What do these people see when he shows up in their buildings? This lanky idiot. Probably breath probably smells like just unwashed. Just got like crumbs from his like croissant on his fucking chin.
He looks like a man. He looks like he smells like cheese.
Well, as you mentioned, Andy, he's a tall monster man, and if you're a tall quarterback, and you have thrown an NFL pass, you can hang around for far past your expiration date. Look, Joe Flacco was getting snaps for the Jets this year. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to put Mike Glennon and Joe Flacco in the same sentence. It insults me because, like,
Flacco is a Super Bowl champion.
even Trent Dilfer, you know, these guys have accomplished something. Mike Glennon has accomplished nothing. His chief accomplishment was somehow having his agent, blow the Bears GM in order to get a ridiculous deal. That was his primary career achievement, was robbing the Bears franchise of several $1 million. Yeah. I hate that motherfucker. And anyway, moving on, because fuck Mike Glennon. Why are the New York Giants? Because, I mean, the Bears are going to fire everybody. That's coming up real soon, near next week. The Giants, Joe Judge, what world is he living in? Because this guy is saying, like, all these players are telling me how badly they want to stay with the Giants. Like, we got something great going on here.
Right?
Negative 10 passing yards.
Greg, was it on Bill Simmons where they asked, like, who would you rather be the head coach for? The Jaguars or the Giants?
Oh boy, I might have been. I didn't listen to the whole podcast.
Yeah, something I listened to in the past 24 hours was saying, like, of these two franchises, who would you rather be at this point? Would you rather be the Giants or would you rather be the Jaguars?
I'd rather be the coach of the Jags, easy, because as we've seen from the Urban Meyer thing, you can do pretty much anything and not get fired. So
yeah, whereas the Giants
talk about job security.
The Giants are just they're not bad enough to like be the Jaguars.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, the Giants do have 2 picks in the top 10 in the draft coming up, so that's something for them. But they're not bad enough to be the Jaguars, but they're also not good enough to like be worthwhile of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like you think of the guys they had there, and it's like, so Saquon Barkley has been squandered.
That guy's going to go down as one of the biggest like what ifs.
Yeah, because I mean, like I wouldn't even call it. He's not like a bust because what the hell else is he supposed to do? Like the rest of the
but when you look at his career, it has been flashes of brilliance punctuated by injuries.
Yeah, injury and bad teams.
Yeah.
God, remember when they went all in on Daniel Jones just a year ago?
Danny Dimes,
baby. Yeah.
I mean, they were division contenders last season.
Oh, come on! Everyone was a division contender.
I was going to say we were division contenders in that division last year.
Yeah, I know.
It's.
I mean, they've lost 5 straight games over with double digits. They're fucking bad. I mean, watching the Bears, I'm conditioned to seeing absolutely horrible teams, underachieving, overpaid assholes, just going out there and playing through 60 minutes, waiting for that game check to clear, trying not to get hurt. Yet this Bears team, where they're going to fire everybody, they beat the fuck out of the Giants. It was never close. The Giants are horrible, just horrible. And this Joe Judge asshole's out there saying, "Oh yeah, I got players calling me. We're going to get all these free agents." Shit, yeah. I mean, it's going to happen.
He's not even going to be fired. He's still probably he's going to have his job next year.
It's just amazing. Yeah.
I don't know.
So I've got a question though about the Bears. What if they win next week? Does Nagy cling to life?
No,
it's over. It's over.
The big concern now is whether they'll fire the general manager, who's apparently in very good standing with the.
Isn't he an accountant or some shit? Like he's
no. That's the team president who is.
Okay.
There was a great moment last year where the Bears general manager and ownership were all in the Zoom conference call because everyone expected them to fire the general manager Ryan Pace and the head coach, and they didn't. And the team president Ted Phillips, he's an accountant, he basically said, "Have we gotten the quarterback situation right? No. Have we won enough games? No." And it's like, why the hell would you say that? Why would you ever say that? Like, you're trying to qualify these guys' jobs, and you basically come out and say like they haven't done a good enough jobs, but we're going to keep them. So yeah, I don't think anything's going to change. Next week, Nagy got fired, and hopefully Ryan Pace will get fired. But what is it? What the Panthers maybe are going to fire their guy after a year?
Matt Rule's been changing QBs, like he's switching batteries in a remote.
Yeah. Well, no. Hey, he's just like Jay-Z, guys. He'll get there. He'll get there eventually, or whatever the hell he said.
Well, I think it's I don't know, like. Talk about just such an obvious case of a coaching downgrade as what we've seen in Carolina.
Yeah,
it was Ron Rivera.
It was Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
And they had
not that Rivera's done like gangbusters with Washington or anything, but
I think he's done about as well as anyone could expect with Washington.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Every time I turn around, that the 32s just look even. Not that they look great to start with, but man, like the stadium, I had no idea. I knew that stadium wasn't great.
Well, yeah, no, the stadium is just
the walls falling down.
The walls are falling down. Sewage is just leaking everywhere.
Did you read about? Yeah, well, go ahead, Greg. You're going to say the same thing I was going to. Go ahead.
The Eagles announcers stayed home and called the game from their own press box back at whatever that field's called in Philly.
Lincoln Financial Field in Philly, because they didn't want to go to the press box at FedEx because sewage leaks into it because it's over the end. I mean, who puts the press box over the fucking end zone?
And they can't see like anything. Yeah. So if the game goes, if a certain drive goes past like midfield at a certain angle, they can't see dick from the fucking press box. So they're just watching the TV anyway.
Oh, that's incredible. It's the supposedly too for all those fans that toppled through the tunnel wall trying to get to Jalen Hurts yesterday. None of them were offered medical attention by the stadium staff. If you were curious.
You know why? Because there was no one there to offer them medical attention. Come on, that guy's not hiring anybody.
Question: Who has the better stadium experience, the Washington 32s or the New York Giants?
Giants. Stadium experience.
I mean, the Giants get. I mean, with the Giants, you get one medium free pop. I mean, that's nothing to laugh about.
That's better than having soda like dumped on you as you walk in,
or sewage,
Free medium cup of sewage.
What is he? FedEx Field is. Let's see. Go ahead, Greg.
I was just gonna say I got to give props to Jalen Hurts though. Man, he was just as cool and collected as he could be when all that was going on. So good for him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Go ahead, Andy.
I was saying FedEx Field isn't that old. It's not. It's like 25 years old.
Yeah, it should not be in the state that it's in.
No,
but it's been in disrepair because it's Dan Snyder,
and he doesn't pay to keep it up to date, to keep it refurbished.
From people that I know that have been to it, it's not like readily accessible from anywhere, and the parking lot is a joke and a half. It's like there's the whole thing is just a mistake that continues to exist, and.
Did they
still playing
on it? What was? I mean, is it?
I would assume, yeah.
I'm not defending it by any means because any place where raw sewage falls on you is not a good place. But they did say that the railing that went over was supposedly for a handicapped area, and I thought, well, at first I'm like, oh, you know what? All right, I understand that. And I thought, no, wait a minute. So worst case scenario is a bunch of people in wheelchairs fall off that motherfucker. And then where are we? I don't.
I guess they're not expecting the people in wheelchairs to be hanging off the railing.
Yeah, I suppose.
The thing that really gets me is that in like the XFL 2.0's brief existence, it seemed like the DC Defenders had a better in-stadium experience. I mean, they were playing at DC United's field. They had the giant like beer snake. Like, it seemed fun.
Yeah.
And then you go to the 32s and you get sewage dumped on you and the wall falls down.
I just don't know how Dan Snyder can do this. How can he get away with this? Because the team's a disaster. They're going to rebrand next year. That's going to be a disaster.
Well, given
horrible.
Given the stadium disrepair, given the investigation into all of the wrongdoings, like, forget the name. At this point, isn't there enough like shit that really matters that you can go like the league can just go like, okay, no, like Dan, fuck off, like
just like a no confidence kind of thing.
Yeah, like just go like, hey, Bezos, you want it? Like, fuck, like.
I mean, the NFLPA may have the enough clout to force a conversation, but I mean, until the franchise is essentially Arizona Cardinals-esque or Arizona Coyotes-esque, I don't think they're going to be any sort of.
I mean, the Arizona Coyotes are Arizona Coyotes-esque, and the NHL's still sticking by that ownership group.
You just have to look no further than how they handled the investigation and the revealing of results for it. Like, if they're not going to give you anything out of that, then they're just not. They're not going to do anything about that team.
I mean, to some degree, and I'm not defending it, and it's definitely wrong, but I do get in a perverse sense the whole like, Dan's one of the boys, we got to look out for our own. So like, to that degree, I get it from like a corporate scumbag perspective, but from the but also from a PR perspective, like. You've got a team that was essentially whoring out cheerleaders. You've got a team whose stadium falls apart in new ways on a weekly basis.
But Mike, John Gruden said something mean in an email.
Okay.
To somebody else. So
you find it odd though that's the only thing in that report that's really come to light?
No, that's it. Wipe our hands.
That's it.
Did it.
They've
ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
We got
they basically got the Raiders to fire John Gruden, who had nothing to do with the 32s, and then declared like success. We fixed the problem. It's like, no, like, I don't know. Like I think like even if I was a soulless reptilian billionaire, like who owned an NFL team, and it was like, we got to look out for our own. Like, even with that mentality, you've got to think, okay, Dan Snyder's tenure has been nothing short of a embarrassment for the league, and it would behoove all of us to kick this motherfucker out and find someone else.
You got to wonder too. I mean, this is a guy that stood by what is clearly a racial slur for a name for how long?
He bought the team, I think, in the mid '90s. So, yeah.
And not only, I mean, he wouldn't even have the conversation. And you're going to tell me that Gruden was the worst thing that happened in that report? Come on.
Well, I mean, part of the inciting incident into these investigations were again practically whoring out the cheerleaders. So, but like the whole, what else is there to say on the racial name thing other than like? On the press release where they finally announced they were getting rid of the name Redskins. As we covered on the show, they said the name Redskins 7 times before they got to the announcement that they were retiring Redskins.
What a glorious moment that was.
The problem with this and every other problem with the NFL is it all comes down to the graph. If you look at the graph of income and profit, it's just gone up every year for 30 years.
But at the same time, how much of that profit increase is because of or in spite of Dan Snyder?
But again, it's one of those things where you don't want to do too much moving of any important pieces, such as especially ownership. There's only 32 of them, where it's like we don't want the money to go down at all, ever, for any reason. And I think that like them changing the name is to the NFL, the people that are up in the important brass of the league, like a monumental, huge glacial shift in their thinking. But that's like as drastic as they want to go. I don't think they want to do anything to.
Well, I mean, lest we pat the NFL too much on the back, they only eventually forced Snyder to change the name when finally the sponsors said enough. Like,
yeah, and
the NFL was quite content to stand by Dan Snyder on the name issue until FedEx basically said, change or we're out.
Of course.
And let's be honest about it too. If George Floyd doesn't happen, they're still the Washington Redskins today.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, the Floyd murder was like an atomic bomb of culture in our moving some pieces that needed to be fucking moved for a long time.
It just sucks that a man had to die for us to get there, but
that's what we have proved time and time again. That's what it takes. Oh, I wanted to mention this, by the way. Since John Madden has died, I thought it was interesting. So John Madden, I like how the Dallas Cowboys screwed the image up on their jumbotron. They had a picture of him and Dan. The Falcons coach who died.
Dan
Reeves. So they had Dan Reeves and John Madden up on a screen, and they had Dan Reeves over John Madden's picture, and John Madden over Dan Reeves' picture.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, but I was thinking about this as they were kind of talking about and celebrating all this Madden stuff, about the All Madden team and how fun he was with the game. Boom. And yet the NFL this year is as sterile and as unfun as it has ever been. And the taunting, the officiating, it is legitimately a problem. And the game is suffering badly because of it.
The taunting crap is it's such bullshit. Like the justification they trot out is like, we got a lot of kids watching and we don't want to instill it's like, do you understand the shit that 12-year-olds say to each other on Fortnite? Like,
or playing Madden online?
Or playing Madden online, yeah.
Oh, playing Madden online, yes.
I mean, come on. There are
I am a 30-year-old man that has played online video games, and children have sworn at me before.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible things. I'm like, go home. Go to bed.
Go to bed.
These kids would make the worst taunting athlete on the field in the NFL look like a Boy Scout by comparison. Come on.
You know what kids like? They like fun. They like exciting. You know who's fun? Guys like Deion Sanders. Guys like
Well, you mentioned Deion Sanders, but like Deion Sanders and John Madden, like to me, kind of occupy some of the same headspace. Like they were both of the same era of the NFL, right? And so it's like. And I know, there are people who might know John Madden foremost as a coach. To me, John Madden is the video game guy, and he's the commentator.
Yeah.
And to me, going off what Zach said, like John Madden sort of represents the commentary side of an era of the NFL where, like, for example, Madden was really colorful on commentary. The Fox NFL pregame show was wacky as shit. You had guys like Deion Sanders who were, fun, and people, followed them and wanted to, like, you wanted to be that guy when you played football at recess.
I hadn't even thought about this part of it until just right now.
Mm-hmm.
The league just installed those stupid end zone cameras, like a year ago, where guys are encouraged to celebrate in the end zone. Or you see guys that make a pick in one end zone, or they cause a fumble on like the opposite 30, and they will run the entire length of the goddamn football field to go scream into the camera on the other end of the field. And that's not taunting. You're encouraging this, but you won't let somebody stare at somebody for
a Bears player looks at the Steelers sideline and it's a taunting penalty.
No, that's the problem. Is that the taunting thing? You're allowed to. My understanding of it is you are allowed to point at the fans in the end zone, going either direction, I guess. But you can't go side to side. I mean, come on. These are grown men, and it's bullshit because if you wanted to say, hey, stop it, okay, maybe that's all right, but a penalty? Come on. And
it's a game. It's a game. It's fun, and trash talking is part of the game.
Wait. You're exactly right. It is a game, so it's only game. Why do you have to be mad?
Why do you have to be mad?
No, we saw a game. We saw the Bears lose a game this year with that stupid rule.
It is what? It's 15 yards for that shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a subjective rule too. That's the worst part. It's we thought the catch, what is a catch and pass interference? We thought those were bad. This is one of those where the official can basically say like, hey, I'm taking this personally. You did that. I'm offended by it. 15 yards, first down. Like it's such a punishment. And plus, like with the NFL going as balls deep as they are with gambling now, that you just can't help. Like, I hate being one of these sports conspiracists, but like you can't help but think that like, man, this taunting shit will really help us sculpt the spread. Like it'll really help.
Oh, absolutely. Well, absolutely, because it's that whole thing where it's like you could call holding on every play if you wanted to. Like, you could find some piddling thing to call for 15 yards on any play if you wanted to.
Anytime wide receiver gets a first down and points,
flag.
Like, is that not taunting? Like, come on.
How many billions of dollars are bet every year just on the National Football League?
Well, the thing about it was that it was always there. Like, people always bet on the National Football League, but now the NFL has embraced it, and that's what adds that extra layer of squick.
Embrace it. I think they've got a vested interest in it at this point, don't they?
They do. Yeah.
So
I guess it's $12 billion. $12 billion bet annually.
Okay, so I mean, again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but you look at that amount of money that's changing hands legally now with these companies that are tied in as sponsors. I mean, how many commercials have we seen for like the Caesars Sportsbook and FanDuel? And
I'm just going to say, I don't think Peyton Manning is a history buff.
But you look at that amount of cash and the sponsorships and all that, and if you think that they don't have at least a little bit of influence here and there, you're out of your mind. I mean, and I'm not saying that every game is staged or it's not WWE wrestling, but I just can't buy that much money is changing hands with people that have a vested interest in this football league.
I mean, we know
Come on,
we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's happened in the NBA.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Why is it such a stretch to think that it would happen in the NFL? We've already seen it happen in the NBA, and why do we think it was just that one guy?
And there's probably more money being bet on the NFL than the NBA.
Infinitely more.
Well, not only that, but you look at it from like this perspective. Okay, if you see the amount of drugs that get past the border, and say like in California or Texas or whatever, that would just be like saying, okay, we've caught this many people, so that's all the drugs. That's nonsense, and we all know it. Just like with Antonio Brown and his Vax card. They caught 3 people. That means 50 got away with it. And that's the way I feel about the referees in the NBA. It's like, okay, that one guy, Tim Donaghy, gets nailed for it. He couldn't have possibly been the only one. I'm sorry. No. I'm not saying they all were, but please. So spare me the spreads don't have any influence and all that bullshit. I don't buy it for a second. We saw the America's team, the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers, gift wrapped a victory against the Bears because of this bullshit rule.
And I mean, to be fair, the Bears, whatever, they're just trash anyway. But
it doesn't matter. It
doesn't. It was ludicrous. And my issue is that I could deal with all this crap as far as like subjectivity and officiating and these murky calls if the game was fun. The game is not fun now. Like, I mean, some people may say like the game is only fun when guys can just kill one another and then they all get CTE. And I mean, yeah, there's something to be argued for, like the physicality of the game, sure. But like,
I remember Jacked Up.
Sure, I mean, it had its time, but at the same token, I'm okay with protecting the players to an extent, but it's like, where's the fun? And don't give me this, like to reiterate Zach's point, don't give me this touchdown celebration shit where they're all kayaking and doing orchestrated shit, and then have stuff on the field be. Because for a long time it didn't need to be messed with. But there's plenty of times where, for years, a guy could be a dumbass on the field and get flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct. Like what was wrong with that? It was the same. It was 15 yards and a first down and possible disqualification. We don't need this other murky, ambiguous shit.
We're like a half step away from, and Greg knows this, the college rule. Like, at least they're not doing the college rule. Where like, if a guy is running down the sideline and like taunts to a guy behind him, they call the play dead where the taunt happened and like take away a touchdown. At least we're not doing that. But it seems like if this is the sort of control they want to have over these players and their personalities, then you're right there from it. But it's like what you said before, Andy, like building off what I said. It's a two-way thing where you're encouraging it over here, but not over here, or penalizing it over here in this instance. So it's stupid. Anyway.
It's idiotic. But I remember who it was. I think it was somebody on the boards posted this, that they think that, go back to John Madden for a second, that the NFL, when he retired, it's become less and less fun every year since. And you know what? I can't argue that point. I mean, it's just not the same. It's just not fun. I mean, Andy's right. It's just like I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm so old that I was there for John Madden as a coach, as an announcer. I saw him call games with guys other than Pat Summerall or Al Michaels. I mean, I've been around for all of it. And to me, you take. I mean, you think I'd be the guy to be like, oh, these young kids don't have any respect. It's like, no, I want to see that. I want it to be fun. I want it when Myles Garrett sacks Bryn Roethlisberger tonight to like look at him and go, hey, fuck you, and like, I want all that. And they're not.
Beat him with his own helmet.
Well, if possible, but I'll settle for just a sack at this point.
I mean, going back to what we said at the start of this, I think the people in charge of instituting these rules, who justify it by being like, we have to look after the kids, like, they should all be made to play at least 5 online games of Madden. They all have to play 5 online Madden games, against a random selection of 12-year-olds and see, what the kids are already saying. All right, because like Greg said, some of them make like the worst NFL players seem like Boy Scouts.
Fuck you! Eat your own ass.
I haven't played Madden in a few years, but isn't there like when you get loose for a touchdown, can't you like dance all the way to the end zone and stuff? Isn't there a button that lets you do that, or like a combination of
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Not to mention the usernames of all these stupid kids.
Yeah. Right. But we want to make the game respectable for the young people. It's like the young people are way worse offenders than anybody on the field at this point. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I say hopefully this offseason they'll just do away with it. And who knows? It might be one of those like weird bargaining chips where they do it for a year just to make everybody, players included, miserable. Then when they negotiate something with the NFLPA, they're like, hey, we'll get rid of taunting. And the players might be like, yeah, I might be okay with getting rid of that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I think that, again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I don't know how prevalent this is in the game, but I have to think that part of it is like every goofy rule like this is a way to go, hey, we kind of want the Bengals to cover against the Chiefs and maybe win this game, so we're going to give them like 35 fucking tries at 4th and 1 from the goal. I mean, it reminded me of that game the Packers and Bengals played earlier this year where like nobody wanted to win, and here the Bengals, I get it, you've got Patrick Mahomes and all that, but it was like, okay, we missed it on 4th down twice and we kept getting penalties, and then anyway, I just don't buy that there's not
screwed up my inevitable victory in the pick'ems.
Yeah, I just don't buy that there's not at least a little bit of that influence going on somewhere. Maybe not every game, maybe not every week, but I'd just be hard pressed to believe with all my heart. Let me put it this way. I'm 98% sure that it doesn't happen, but there's that 2% that still lingers and goes, you know what? It doesn't sound as crazy as it seems. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Well, should we do our? Oh, sorry, Zach. Did you?
Well, no, I think we talked. You mentioned Madden, but I don't think we talked about him a little bit.
We should talk about him a little bit. Like I said, I was there for all of it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Madden moment that sticks out to you that you can remember off the top of your head?
The reason the Falcons have a great defense is that they play good on defense.
Mine is similar, where it's Brett Favre is a good football player because he's really good at football.
Madden created, he's just out there having fun. That's where it came from. Yeah, with Brett Favre.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna say that's the one singular thing I didn't like Madden for was his fucking like fellatio of Brett Favre at every opportunity, because like Brett Favre, all right, talented QB, yes. The legend of him was vastly overrated because, for every, gunslinger Brett Favre moment, there were 3, like, he threw the ball into triple coverage and lost the game moments.
But he's just having a good time.
But he's just having a good time.
To be fair, I'm not going to defend Brett Favre because, I mean, you know, I've suffered enough at the hands of Brett Favre in my life. But, like, you know, to be on the all Madden team was kind of a celebration of football when football was fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought the all Madden, like, I don't have a specific Madden memory necessarily. His presence, though, when he was on Monday Night or Sunday Night Football for a long while with Al Michaels?
He did Monday Night with Al for a bit, and then when NBC got the rights, he went over there with him.
Okay,
yeah.
Before that era, when he was doing, you know, afternoon games and stuff like that, like any time he was on, even during pregame stuff, like there's some guys who just love football and it radiates from them. And you know, whatever you want to say about him as a coach, I didn't live through him as a coach, but as a broadcaster,
one of the best winning percentage of all time as a coach.
He was an outstanding coach.
The best,
best
winning percentage. Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying I have no feedback on him as a football coach. But he was. I watched some stuff where he was breaking down the Super Bowl 20 with Bears and Patriots, and he was brilliant with X's and O's and kind of explained in about 4 minutes why he's like, well, you got this guy here and this guy here, and you got him lining up at the defensive end. And what I'm trying to say is the Patriots are fucked. I mean, he was trying to explain that, like, you know, you got Richard Dent, you got Dan Hampton, you got the refrigerator, you got all these Hall of Famers.
Marshall, yeah,
right. And he's just like, so the Patriots got to, you know, they got to do something. It was, but the way he would talk, it made you just want to sit down and watch football and have him kind of just go over it with you.
Well, there's also there's the story that he was the guy who came up with the idea of the first down marker graphic on the field.
That's the legend. Yeah,
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really the guy that like popularized the telestrator. As like a tool. Besides just like obviously just diagramming the plays, but we've all, I'm sure at some point in the last week, you've all seen the clip of, well, this is the mommy bucket and this is the daddy bucket. And over here they got a little baby bucket. And wow, this guy's head, it's got a lot of steam coming off the top of it. Look at these lines.
Well, and I actually kind of miss that style where it's clearly hand drawn because everything is so polished and computer graphics today.
I don't know if any of you watched the Fox pregame show on Sunday, but every time they had a graphic come up, they had one of those hand-drawn yellow circles around somebody's name or around a stat or something whenever a graphic came up. Yeah.
Like Fox's entire vibe is because of John Madden. Like,
absolutely.
He was the first guy they hired.
Yeah, and I mean, it you know, that's the one thing that Fox Sports, I feel like, has always, and I mean, I can't say that for the last 6 years. I don't really watch the pregame stuff much, but it's always been like, let's just have fun. Let's just have fun. We're watching football today.
It's not as fun as it used to be.
No, but
I mean, like Terry is still goofing off possibilities, and Howie and Michael Strahan are always giving him shit. You know, it's of the pregame shows, it is the most fun, but pregame.
Oh yeah, no. I will still watch the Fox pregame show over the ESPN pregame show almost any day.
I mean, going back to the Fox and Madden thing, if you guys are probably too young to remember this, but when Fox got that NFL contract, everybody thought it was going to be a disaster because they would refer to Fox as like 3/4 of a network. They had no affiliates. They were all on the old UHF band, which if you're not old enough to know what that is, just go look it up. I'm not going to explain.
It was DuPont, wasn't it? Didn't they? No, seriously, wasn't Fox like built off the dusty, hollowed out remains of the DuPont network or something?
That may be. I don't know, but I know that like they were like every channel that they were on back when over the air was still a thing. It would be like on channel 58, 68. 37, whatever, and the desirable spots were 3, 5, 8, 9, whatever. But no one had much hope for it. Then they signed John Madden and Pat Summerall, and it was instant credibility, just like that. Okay, this isn't going to be as ridiculous as we think it's because back then Fox's programming was like Married with Children and these weird reality shows and
Married with Children, Simpsons, X-Files, and a whole lot of dead air.
A lot of garbage too. And everybody was like, oh my God, they're going to ruin the NFL. And then this is what cracks me up. When that score bug, the first year they had it came out, people lost their minds.
What, the robot?
No, the little score bug in the corner just
right.
the score, and they're like, we hate this, we don't like it, it's in the way. And now, could you imagine watching a game without that thing?
Well, it's kind of goes back to what I thought when I read that recollection of like the legend that Madden, pushed for the first down marker, where he asks like, why can't we leave the first down marker on the field for the whole game? And people go, and the response at the time was, oh, it would be distracting. And now you look at like a first down play, and it's like you've got the marker, you've got like an arrow that says 1st and 10, you've got lights blinking around the quarterback.
For people that grew up in the generation that we all grew up in, Mike, and
yeah.
You know, when the first time you ever went to a pro football game, did you not feel entirely lost?
Yep. Yeah.
Like, wait, where are they running to? I don't know what's the line to gain. I'm so confused.
When I was a little kid, it took me like 2 games to figure out that wasn't part of the field.
Right. Yeah.
Do you guys know how much that thing cost when they first got it to work? This is just what I've heard. I could be wrong, but I heard it was like almost $1 million a game to use that first down line when the technology first became usable.
What, to put a yellow line on the field?
Yeah, because you have no idea what it takes to do that from a TV standpoint. I mean, you've got to basically.
It was brilliant the way they put it together.
Shit and all this other stuff. I don't even understand it, but yeah, it was very expensive to get started.
If I recall, and I don't have the details on it, but it was the conception of the first down line was sort of a brilliant stroke of genius as far as like keying out the players to where they could actually. It was something about the way they overlaid it to where the line would be on the grass, but the players would be over the line.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure it was expensive, but I mean, like, I don't know. Madden's impact on sports broadcasting is just unfathomable.
And going back to what I said earlier, and I'm not saying like I'm attributing this to Madden, but I think it kind of all worked into the vibe that he brought to Fox's NFL coverage. You know, you had the robots. That was another thing that made Fox fun. Didn't matter if it was the NHL or the NFL. Those fucking robots made Fox feel like it's like, oh, you're watching sports on Fox. This is going to be a fun time.
They really, I mean, I don't know where it goes if they don't get Madden and Summerall, because like I said, that gave them instant credibility, and all of a sudden, and then there was the great affiliate switch after that happened, because all the Fox people wanted to be the Fox affiliate because they had the NFL, they had the NFC, which was the big package back then.
Mm-hmm.
But it just,
I was going to mention that too, because it helped that the Cowboys of that generation are synonymous with Madden because of the Fox and Madden and the whole thing.
The Cowboys, and then again, sorry Andy, but Brett Favre and the Packers, that.
Yeah, but I think they did a stat last night on Sunday Night Football that he called, of his career, the most games he called were 141 for the Cowboys, followed by the Giants, and then I think it was the Packers after that. But like the Cowboys, it was like not even close.
Right.
In second place, yeah. So
makes sense.
And you guys, when did he go to? Oh, it was 94, right? When they got the NFL package, 93, 94?
Yeah, something like that.
So and then you probably never heard him when he was at CBS then.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
That's the thing too. Like as you get into like the 2000s, I mean, probably from like 2000 on until he quit, he was kind of like, he was still John Madden, and he was still the biggest thing going, but I don't want to say he became a parody of himself, but he was kind of headed in that direction. And I think he quit at the right time. But when he was like at CBS in the first 2 years at Fox, that guy was just off the charts. Nobody could touch him as far as analysis went. And it's just wild to, I mean, like I said, I was there for all of it. I remember when he was the coach of the Raiders. He's the guy that made the Raiders the Raiders, or whatever the Chris Berman thing. Yeah. He's the guy behind that. That's the guy who built the Raiders that we all look back on from the 70s and go, wow, that's the Raiders, and yeah, that was him. He did all that. So his influence, to me at least, I mean, my God, I can't imagine anybody bigger in pro football than John Madden.
And it just struck me. I don't know why I said my true Madden memory. I don't know why this is, of all the things he did between coaching, broadcasting, games, the thing that I remember about John Madden the most is boom, tough acting to acting.
Yeah. Yep.
See, I remember when we used to do Miller Lite commercials back when they were doing all the sports guys, all the different sports, like Bucher was on there, and Madden and all these different like sports celebrities were doing Miller Lite commercials. I remember when he did those. There was one other thing he did: Tinactin, Miller Lite. What was the other one he did a commercial for? He was famous for 3, and I can't remember the third one. But
well, speaking of NFC football, and sort of that 90s 2000s period where Madden reigned supreme, I saw the Kurt Warner movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't spoil it. Does he end up winning the Super Bowl?
You would not believe how much of an afterthought the Super Bowl is in that movie.
I'd heard that the football was kind of really the secondary plot point in it.
Well, like to a degree, I get that if you want to focus on his personal life and whatever, and the trials he went through and that, I understand that. But like when he the big football scene, when he gets to the Rams is his first game against the Ravens. That's yeah. Okay. That's the big thing. Like basically.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the story arc, because then once he gets in the NFL, it's
Mike, they're leaving room for the sequel. Come on.
Well, look, it's so wild because
No, Greg, they're leaving room for Jesus.
Yes. This movie also feels like there were so many Jesus scenes that got cut. Like I get the feeling this was made as more of a Jesus movie, and then someone had the idea like, hey, we could probably get a more wide appeal if we tone down the Jesus.
It wasn't made by a major studio, was it?
No, it was made by one of those Christian
studios.
And like the whole Jesus stuff is like one scene with his wife where they talk about like, oh, we have a personal relationship with God, and like that is it. And it's so weird, and yet there are parts of the movie that kind of feel disconnected. So I get the feeling that this was a movie originally made to go around like the church circuit, and then someone was like, people like football. We could get a mass release if we cut out all the Jesus bits, and then that's what they did. But yeah, like the movie kind of builds up. It builds up. He gets to the Rams. Mike Martz is an asshole in training camp. And then it gets to his first game with the Rams against the Ravens. And that's like the big dramatic moment at the end of the movie. And then like afterwards, it like has one little flash of like him throwing a pass in the Super Bowl, and then it just cuts to actual footage of the end of that Super Bowl, and it's like Kurt Warner won the Super Bowl. The end. Yeah, and I'm sure this was not the intention, given that Kurt Warner was a producer on this thing, but like you kind of walk away from this movie being like, man, Kurt Warner's wife's a bitch.
Well,
the best thing
isn't that like the general consensus?
Yeah, but you'd think that a movie that like he greenlit and produced would like paint her in a glowing light, but no, you kind of go
unavoidable.
You just kind of go like, man, Kurt Warner's wife's a bitch. Come on, like
the best thing I ever saw about her was somebody made a joke one time that I forget, it was either that he was dating Johnny Unitas or she had decided to go with Johnny Unitas' haircut. I wish I could do it justice because it was hilarious, and I can't remember what
it's just so weird because like there are a couple of football, I guess what you call action scenes in the movie. Like you've got them at college, and then for the Iowa Barnstormers, and then of course the Rams, and for all of them, like they actually do recreate the games in a cinematic format, right? And some people they like that, other people they don't, but whatever, that's what they're going for. And then it is just so weird that once we get to like the Super Bowl, it's just like one quick shot of the actor throwing a pass, and then we just cut to game footage, like actual game footage, which they hadn't been doing the entire movie.
They ran out of money, Mike. They were just like,
they ran out.
Yeah, that Super Bowl clip probably was the majority of the budget for the movie. I'm surprised.
Well, that's why they did the licensing for the tiny uniform numbers.
Oh yeah.
How does that happen? They need to hire us to be continuity people. And go,
Right. Although it is hilarious, like there are 2 NFL All-Stars, or I guess NFL megastars, who get like I don't want to say cameos because they don't play themselves, like they have other actors playing them, but you do see a clip of like some guy pretending to be Brett Favre at the because Warner was at the Packers training camp before he got cut.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then like because his first game, like the big climax of the movie is his first game with the Rams against the Ravens, they've got some guy playing Ray Lewis. Oh wow. And like he even does like the Ray Lewis like Superman shirt rip taunt like in the movie and
you know the vibe. Three things. Number one, I've always thought that Kurt Warner's wife looked like some sort of ostrich. Number two,
yes.
Number two, Michael Walker accurately 100% states that I remember them say that he was dating Gozer. She looks like fucking Gozer. That's a lock. That is an apt description. And number three, the entire production vibe of this movie felt like I didn't see it, but from the trailer and stuff, it all gives me the production value vibe of the like Unsolved Mysteries reenactments.
Yeah.
No. That's pretty much it. Yeah. That's pretty much it. And
isn't Dennis Quaid? Aren't Dennis Quaid and Anna Paquin both in this movie?
Yeah.
And Zachary Levi and
Dennis Quaid plays Dick Vermeil, and maybe I've just forgotten what Dick Vermeil was like, but like Dennis Quaid is so weird in this movie. He's like it's very hard to describe, but he kind of plays Dick Vermeil like this. The best I could put it is like giggling old uncle. Like he's like, oh wow, I believe in him, and it's just like, what the fuck is this? Is this acting choice?
Well, okay, I can explain the cast. So the reason that this cast is in this movie of any note, so Dennis Quaid, Anna Paquin, and so forth, is likely that it is part of their contracts with movie studios that they have a particular number of films they have to star in. So if they sign a 3-movie deal with XYZ company, and then it's like, God, I just need to get this done so I can get my next contract, they'll simply just take whatever work's available. Or in Dennis Quaid's case, it may be something to where it's like it could be considered, because I don't know if these studios are connected to any charities or Christian charities, things like that. It could be part of a like court-ordered thing to where he has to. For real, like
it's community service to play Dick Vermeil in the Kurt Warner Jesus movie.
I mean, I'm sure his like attorneys, if he had some sort of a thing, if he got a drunken disorderly conduct, I don't know, like if he did something to where it's like, yeah, well, if I do this movie, they'll give X% to charity. Will that clear me of my court-ordered public service? Wow. And they'll be like, yeah. Like this used to happen all the time back in the 90s with like, if a guy got arrested on drugs who was on TV, they would be like, okay, well, you can do like a home video, an anti-drug home video as part of your court order or whatever. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some court-ordered shit happening for this cast. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, so anyway, Mike, so is it as awful as we think it's going to be? Is it somewhere in the middle? Is it okay?
It's not terrible. It's not like it's kind of weird that they took like, because I am so not the audience for a Jesus movie, but it does kind of feel weird that they apparently just cut all the Jesus stuff out, because like without it, it's just, yeah, Kurt Warner, played in the AFL and then he won the Super Bowl for the Rams. That was neat. And they create, there's drama that they focus on in their personal lives. Like, I don't know. It feels like an adequate Hallmark movie.
Okay, like that's about what I would expect, actually.
Like it's not a comedy of errors or anything. It's not unwatchable. It's not so bad it's good. It's just like, it's an adequate way to waste 2 hours if there's absolutely nothing else on.
All right.
But the one thing that aside from the stupid small numbers on the Rams jerseys, the scenes that take place at Rams training camp, they give everyone like team sweaters that they all wear for the scenes where they're not on the field, or team sweatshirts, and they all feature
cardigans or
they all feature the navy and old gold Rams logo recolored in the throwback colors.
Oh wow!
Like I'm sure 99.9% of people who see this movie won't give a shit, but for me, it was bugging me. It's like that logo just is wrong. Let's stuck.
I wanted them to do that when they changed colors.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
The biggest question, Mike, and this is the most important one.
Mm-hmm.
Did they get the Barnstormers helmets right?
Yes. Okay. But they still kind of fucked up the uniforms because the Barnstormers jerseys, they had those wings on the front shoulders of the jerseys.
Right.
And like the Rams numbers, they're stupid and tiny in this movie. And so it's weird where like you watch this movie and you go, and it's like there was clearly an attention to detail in some areas, and then just completely like we don't give a fuck in others. Such an interesting dynamic.
That's why you should never let civilians be in charge of uniforms in a sports movie. It's as simple as that. They always screw something up. Although, what was that movie? Speaking of Dick Vermeil, what was it called? Mark Wahlberg, the dude from the Eagles, Invincible.
I thought that was good.
Impressed. Yeah, it was. I was very impressed.
That's that Disney money because they got all the uniforms right in Miracle too.
Because like in '76, the Cowboys had a red stripe in place of one of the blue stripes on the helmet, and the movie got that. I'm like, that's good. I like that. That's impressive because 90% of the movies out there would have completely missed that fact, and we would have been going, "Hey, they had a red stripe on their helmet in '76, so good for them." God, I forgot.
Why don't we talk about the actual football?
Oh yeah, I was going to say. Well, we've got actual football, and I want to get to the college football a little bit too. Because,
let's we got to do our picks too.
All right, let's do that.
Let's just get it over with here.
I'm just going to take. Let's see. I'll take the Jaguars just because it makes no fucking difference.
I've already selected the matchups because basically the key matchup here is Zach and Mike's picks.
Yeah,
because currently
I'm a game behind, right?
Yeah, so currently Mike is sitting at 12-5, Zach at 11-6. So with a Mike loss and a Zach win, we will go to a playoff pick between Mike and Zach. Greg, you are at 7-10. I'm at 9-8. So regardless, you have locked the number one overall pick for our draft.
That's good, I guess.
So let's go ahead and do this here. Mike, you'll be picking between the 49ers at the Rams.
Ooh, that is interesting. The 49ers are playing for a playoff spot.
Yeah, Rams are playing for the number 2 seed.
Rams playing for the number 2 seed.
And the division, because if they lose and the Cardinals win, then the Cardinals get the division.
That's true.
Both teams have plenty to play for, basically.
I am, the 49ers were hot for a while. That seems to have cooled off. And, the playoffs haven't started, but for all the reasons Zach said, like the playoffs for the Rams have essentially started. I don't think they're going to be sitting anyone. I think this is the time they start kicking themselves in gear. I'm going to pick the Rams.
Okay. Zach, you are choosing between the Chargers at the Raiders.
Ooh, another tough one.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is a winner goes home sort of thing. It's in Vegas. Chargers are a 3-point favorite.
But they are prone to charging.
They are prone to charging, and the Raiders have been pretty awful until like they pull these wins out of nowhere down the stretch to even be where they are. Like they shouldn't have beat the Colts. Like honestly, if the Colts had done their job, we'd be in a dead heat coming into this weekend. But man, I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Okay. All right. I will be choosing between the Steelers at the Ravens. I'll just choose the Ravens. There weren't any other really good matchups. Greg, you are choosing between the Bears at the Vikings.
Oh, wow. It depends. Of no consequence. Kirk Cousins, is he going to be back by then? I know that he...
I think he would be back by then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings in that one, I think.
Okay, no problem. All right, so with the number 1 and number 2 picks already locked up in the draft, we don't know quite what we're drafting yet. So it's going to be a pride thing for Greg and I, but the 49ers, Rams, Chargers, Raiders, I think that's Sunday night and Monday night games.
Chargers, Raiders is Sunday
night.
Sunday night. There are no Monday night games.
Okay.
Rams 49ers is Sunday afternoon.
Okay, so we will await those results, and if we need to, we will have we'll go to a pick-off or something.
Just real quick too, with this TV schedule for Sunday, would it really kill anybody if we had a doubleheader on both networks every week? I mean, I get it that you want the exclusive, but really at this point in the game with the NFL Sunday Ticket and Red Zone and all, I mean, what are we doing here? Players can't celebrate, and you're acting like it's still 1978 with the television rights. It's enough already. All right, sorry, we can go on.
Is there any baseball stuff you guys, any football stuff you guys want to go over from the past week of play, or did you want to go to college football? We got like half an hour.
Zach?
I mean, I just thought it was a great Sunday. To set up this weekend.
Yep.
I think the one I got to call out to start is the one that made this a game for Mike and I still. The Bengals, man.
Wow.
Way to go, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
Well, it felt very Cleveland Cavaliers-esque. Of course, they had this big moment in like their worst uniform set.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Cincinnati fans are going ape shit. Really exciting, cool finish to a game, and they're wearing the orange over the black. Just look like idiots.
It look like Halloween.
I liked it.
Well,
thanks for joining us, Zach. We'll see you.
They're tigers. They're supposed to be black and orange. Look at them.
Okay. I think that the orange jerseys work over white pants, over black. They look like Halloween candy. I'm sorry. They just do.
Again, Greg, what color is a tiger?
Well, technically a tiger is white underneath and then black and orange.
They tried to replicate that once. It looked terrible.
Yeah, that's true too.
They look like tigers. They're black and orange stripes.
There's not a tiger out there that's like black underneath like that. There's just not one unless he spray painted himself.
Well,
no, the orange jerseys I'm okay with. I mean, they still look a damn sight better than they did last year, no matter what they do. So there's that.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I will. I'll say this about the on-field stuff. In the AFC East, things are interesting because, well, first of all, the Patriots, as Andy said, defranchised the Jaguars.
Yeah, it's like 51-3 or something. It's like, God damn.
And then the Bills took care of business against the Falcons. So
yeah, Josh Allen just looks like shit. I don't know what to think of him. He is a mercurial guy.
Now, did that finally eliminate the Falcons? Are they out now? That's it.
Yeah, Falcons are out. So there's only I have this open. There's only 3 spots available in the playoffs. One in the NFC and 2 in the AFC. In the NFC, the only teams alive are the Niners and the Saints. If the Niners win or the Saints lose, then the Niners are in. And if the Niners lose and the Saints win, then the Saints are in. And if both win, then the Niners are up, or whatever. But it's between the two of them. And then in the AFC, It's Colts, Chargers, Raiders, Steelers, and Ravens. Although the Steelers need to win out and get some help, and the Ravens need 4 teams to lose and for them to win. And one of those teams they need to lose is the Colts, who are playing the Jaguars. So the Colts are well into the
the Ravens have a 2% chance of making the playoffs. The Steelers have a 4% chance.
And of course Cleveland
and then the other big spot would come down to the Chargers Raiders Sunday night game.
And the Browns might be eliminated, but they can still eliminate the Steelers. So
I called it. They're going to win their last 2 games now, go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, just like I predicted. And the Browns fans are losing their minds. Like, what happened? What happened is simple. It's a tougher schedule. You went 11-5 last year against nobodies. Of course, it's going to be a little harder this year.
And then also Baker Mayfield maybe isn't that good.
You know what? I'm going to cut him some slack
injured half the season.
Yeah, I mean he's been playing with one arm since week 3.
Well, whose fault is that? Take the fucking time off and
I agree.
Get healthy.
But I'm okay. I mean, there's really not a better option out there unless Aaron Rodgers says, "Hey, I want to be a Brown next year." Other than that, give him another year. What the hell has he got to lose?
But the reason I brought up the AFC East is because it got scary there for a while with the Patriots on top, but the Bills have once again regained it, and the Bills' destiny is in their hands. They can hang on to this division and stop the Patriots resurgence if they just win out.
But the Patriots are in the playoffs already.
Well,
right?
yeah, they're in the playoffs, but I'm just saying they can keep them from reclaiming the AFC East if they win out.
That one season where the Patriots weren't good sure was fun.
Here's the thing about it too. The way the standings are right now, the Bills and Patriots will play in the first round.
Oh,
and there's still some seeding to be had among the top 4 in the AFC, but if the Bills and Patriots play in the first round back in Buffalo, and then the Patriots beat the Buffalo Bills in the first round, then what was it all for ultimately?
Yep. I just put 2 teams I want to call out from yesterday. I think that we finally saw the Miami Dolphins had won 7 in a row, and everybody kept saying, "Well, they haven't beaten anybody." Well, then they finally played someone and just had their asses handed to them. Yeah. So
I mean, you got to give it to them. They were 1-7, and they
that's great, but they kind of got fat on really bad teams along the way too.
Sure.
And I thought the Cowboys were actually good this year. I'm going to back away from them. I don't think they're actually good at all. I think they did the same thing the Dolphins did. They made hay while the sun was shining against teams that weren't very good. And
I mean, they'll probably end up playing the Eagles. So I would think that
Cowboys. Yeah,
I think Cowboys will probably. This could be. I don't want to say they're frauds, but I mean, you got to at least think they'll win a playoff game. I mean, the Eagles.
Right. The Cowboys are probably going to get the loser of the AFC West or NFC West. So if they're the number 4 seed, they'll play the Cardinals or the Rams.
Ooh, if they have to play the Cardinals again, would it be? It'd be at home, right? Because
I'm sorry, that's correct. They would probably play the Cardinals, who they decide.
Oh yeah. By the way, good job, Dallas. You couldn't even fucking finish off the Cardinals, could you?
Well, it's one of those weird things where Kyler Murray has never in his entire life lost a game in Cowboy Stadium as a high school player and a college player and a pro player.
Going back to the officials again, and this wasn't about the officiating. This was about the rules in the NFL.
But they should have called a fumble on him.
That was a fumble, clear as day. But because of the challenge rule, I mean, at least in college football, say what you want, but at least the replay official can go, "Hey, hold on a minute, I don't like this," no matter what. And I don't know. It's just that you've got all this technology and we still can't get a fucking replay straight. Come on. I just don't understand.
Well, Tuck rule.
Made that up on the spot. I don't care what anybody says.
So who do the Saints play?
The Saints. Yeah, go ahead.
Panthers, right?
Nope. Bucs are playing the
Falcons. So basically, the Saints are probably going to win, right? Beat the Falcons.
That would get them in. And they need to win and the 49ers to lose.
Right. And I think the 49ers, because here's the other problem with 49ers is they're still dealing with Jimmy Garoppolo's hand.
Right.
And, Trey Lance, is he good enough to play or not? They won't say if he is or not.
I think it's I think he could be a good quarterback in 5 years. I don't think he's ready to go right now.
I want another Kyle Shanahan cryptic message. I can't tell you what the future holds, for all men will perish in a burning inferno eventually.
Wow.
He was the one that said we don't know if we're even going to be here on Sunday, right?
Well, no. They asked who the start. They asked Shanahan who the starting quarterback was going to be, and he was like, "I can't confirm that we're going to have anyone playing quarterback." Like, okay.
But yeah, so next weekend. Well, I don't know. Did anybody surprise you guys this year? I think the Eagles making the playoffs is a little bit shocking to me. They've been kind of hanging around all year, and you didn't know which way they were going to go, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, they're in the playoffs." How about that?
The Eagles are only in the playoffs because the NFC is so top heavy, and someone had to get those lower seeds.
Yeah, because let me pull up their schedule because I think they did the same thing. You can, these are their last four. They've won 4 in a row, and those 4 have been against the Jets football team, Giants football team.
Oh wow! Okay, so
which was preceded by losing to the football team.
So they're another kind of a mirage too. But like Mike said, somebody has to take that spot, so they're going to be the ones that take it.
Yeah, they have 9 wins, and they're over the Falcons, Panthers, Lions, Broncos, Saints, and then Jets.
So they're basically the 2020 Browns. In other words, yeah.
The team that kind of came out of nowhere for me is the Titans. I think the Titans.
The Titans being as good as they are, yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I thought they'd be good. I feel like they were like this year was going to be one of those like 10 wins, playoff appearance. Good job, everybody, and we're done.
I'm more surprised that they didn't collapse when they lost Derrick Henry.
Yeah, they surged. They won after Henry got hurt. They won like 5 straight, something like that. Or no. I'm sorry, he got hurt a week 8. And then they won. They I guess they won 2 out of the next 3, and they've survived. They've made chicken salad, and the season's been pretty good
in there too, if I remember right.
So they beat the Rams,
beat Saints,
beat the Saints, whatever. Lost to the Texans, lost to the Patriots, beat the Jags, lost to the Steelers, beat the Niners, beat the Dolphins,
beat the shit out of the Niners.
Yeah. Well, no, Niners.
I'm sorry, Miami. Yeah, wrong score. Yeah.
So it is what it is. But they got the wins that they needed, and the thing that's going to work out well for them is if they do indeed beat Houston on Sunday, which I mean they lost to the Texans already, but they shouldn't a second time. If they get the bye, then Derrick Henry's coming back in their first playoff game.
Yeah,
like fully healthy with time behind him. So he could even play this weekend supposedly, but I don't think they'll do that.
No, I wouldn't.
I think the other one is in terms of being better than we thought, the Bengals. I thought the Bengals would be a playoff team, but division winners, that's ahead of schedule, I think.
Well, they were kind of hard to get a read on all season too. They'd go out and win some incredible game, and then go out. The Browns hang 40 on them at home.
Well, I remember they absolutely devastated the Ravens, and people were going like, "Oh, the Bengals are the team to beat in the AFC," and then they would lose to the fucking Jets.
Yeah. It's so they're good. I mean, that what's his name, Jamar Chase? That kid can play, man.
Oh,
I mean, wow,
hell yeah.
And I if I were them. And again, I'm not a Bengals fan, so I don't follow the team that closely, but you've got 7 draft picks next year. I'd pick at least 6 offensive linemen. Just me. Just what I'm saying, because you're going to keep – Burrow's going to end up getting killed back there if you guys don't find a way to protect him a little bit better. And he's doing all right. And speaking of him, why isn't he in the MVP conversation? I mean, who's
too young?
Yeah, all right, I guess. What's he, like a second or third year now?
Second year, yeah. Well, I mean, second if you don't include the ACL year.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, the Bengals are kind of a shock too, but they're good.
And then in terms of teams that were like the most disappointing, I think you got to circle the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Part of that's due to the injury to Lamar, but even when he was playing, something has been wrong with that team all season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've been a little off. I think the part of me wants to say a team like the Broncos, but they kind of fell apart. But I mean, what is more surprising, would you say? The Jaguars with 2 wins or the Lions with 2 wins?
Lions.
Like you should expect. You think they have none?
I thought they would have been one of those 5-11 teams.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like they were going to be bad, but not this bad.
They all the Lions almost were, because like they've lost a lot of close games, so they could be one of those 5-win teams.
I lost a lot of close games, and Jared Goff's been out for the last like 4 weeks anyway. Yeah,
I'm gonna say I'm shocked that the Jaguars have 2 wins, because I thought they were gonna go I thought we were gonna have a legit shot at 0-17.
Yeah, maybe
you look at the complete lack of talent, the complete lack of depth, the shit show that was their coaching situation that went on for far too long, by the way. And I don't think I was out of bounds to think maybe this team was going to go 0-17.
It wasn't
the 2 wins are by combined 6 points.
Yeah. It wasn't
one of them being
dominant or anything.
Not one of them being the 9-6 over the Bills, which is probably the strangest result of the season.
Yeah, definitely. That's the NFL, though. I mean, it just weird shit happens sometimes. Like the Saints beating the Bucs 9-0 a couple weeks ago.
But you see, I feel robbed because. All right, I feel robbed because 0-17, especially the first year for a 17-game schedule, would have been magical. That would have been legendary. It would have been beautiful. And instead, we just get another humdum 2 and whatever Jaguar season, whatever. Fuck this team. They're a waste of time. You better not steal Byron Leftwich, you fucking fucks.
They will. Speaking of the 17-week season,
I was just going to bring that up. Go ahead.
It's strange to say that it's one extra week, but it made the season feel long. Longer than
too much.
It had at any point before. It shouldn't, but it certainly did.
Yep. And it kind of goes back to what Andy said. You know, football is less fun. Like, this season at times felt just like a slog. Like, all right, I guess these are just the shit games we've got to get through this week. And
this week should be the end of the season, and it already feels too long right now. And we still got a week to go. I don't know if it's just And the Super Bowl's not till the 13th of February this year. I mean, pretty soon it's going to be like we're going to have a doubleheader. We're going to have the Super Bowl followed by spring training baseball right here at whatever stadium they're in.
Well, someone mentioned now with the NFL pushing the Super Bowl to mid-February, like it is inevitable at some point the Super Bowl is going to fall on Valentine's Day, and that should be a very interesting.
Well, wait a second. This can't be right. Is the Super Bowl supposed to be on a Saturday?
No.
Hold on.
That would be amazing.
I mean,
it should be.
Okay, no. Then ESPN's thing is wrong. It says Saturday, the February 12th.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, no.
No.
Okay.
That I mean, you could make the argument that it should, given how drunk everyone gets. Yeah, give people the Sunday to just sleep it off. But
the worst thing, the two
Super Bowl
worst
Saturday doesn't have the same.
The two worst quote unquote holidays on the calendar are New Year's Eve and the Super Bowl, because you get a bunch of people doing shit they never do except for one night a year. And I think it's worse with the Super Bowl because you get all these idiots that don't even watch football going, and you spend half your time, if you go to one of these parties, explaining things to people because they don't know what the fuck's going on. I quit going to Super Bowl parties 10 years ago, and I'll never go to another one because of that.
Or people trying to talk to you about stuff that isn't the game. You're like, no, I'm actually here for that.
I'm here to watch this, believe it or not. Yeah. So I quit going.
No, there's too much football right now.
Yeah.
You give me 3 preseason games, still too many. I think 2 preseason games is just fine. 16 games was fine. We don't need all this shit. They don't need to expand the playoffs.
There's too many playoff teams now. Like,
I mean, it feels like The Hobbit, where they took this thin book and made it into 3-hour long movies.
Yeah,
it's like, it was just fine when you had your 16-game season. The 4-game preseason, they managed around that to where it was sort of like a deep cuts concert, to where it's like, by game 3, you're seeing 6th-round picks versus 6th-round picks, and if you're really a diehard, you can watch. But most people don't give a shit. So I guess I could figure that out. But like, you know, I it just sucks because there's no putting that genie back in the bottle. You know, like they're just, if anything, there's going to be more football coming up. There's going to be more playoff teams.
Well, the fear now is like, because they had some COVID postponements that forced them to have, you know, Tuesday games, that they're just going to start making that permanent, because it's like, oh, we had Tuesday night football and look at this.
Well, you even look at this weekend. Like we have the Saturday doubleheader ahead of the full. It used to be just everything on Sunday that final weekend of the season, and now you're doing the Saturday doubleheader, all the games on Sunday, and then going into the 6 playoff games. The first weekend is it's going to be a lot.
There's going to be a wild card playoff game on Monday. Like, God damn it!
I'm just going to bring that up. Let's say that you're a playoff team that's playing on Saturday, and then you end up drawing the Monday. Isn't it kind of an unfair advantage because you're getting like an extra 2 days?
But I think there's either one or two ways to do it. Either they won't announce what days teams are playing until Monday,
right?
Or they'll just say, you play Thursday games during the regular season, and that's short. It's the same thing they did when they had like the Tuesday to Sunday.
Fuck all that. That's
it sucks.
Well, I guess you know, as we leave the desolate wasteland that is the NFL behind, college stuff happened.
Yeah, Gary, you might want to stop listening to the show at this point. Just saying.
But I'm not watching the national championship game.
No, I won't either.
What you mean, the SEC title game?
Again.
We need
part 2.
We need to fix this. Like you can't just say flat out no rematches, because in theory, you know, hell, Alabama could have played Michigan in the first game of the season, and then they both go undefeated after that.
Right.
And, you know, it doesn't matter.
I think you should not allow to like no conference championship match.
Exactly. One team per conference. That's it.
Right.
Like, you have to win your conference to get in.
The original plan. And you know what? Let's just say, okay, you want the what do they call the power of 5 conferences?
Group of 5.
The group of 5 conferences. You want them in? Okay, fine. Then you know what? We're going to go to a 8-team playoff, 8 conference champions, highest ranked. That's it. End of story. No at large, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That way, okay, if Alabama wins the SEC, guess what? That's the only SEC team in this thing. Same with the Big Ten. Same with no other conference gets 2 teams, just the one. The SEC. Everybody else.
Yeah. This is not the third time we've done this. Like
it's not like we ever get a year where it's like Michigan and Ohio State in the Final Four, right?
Yeah, right.
Or Ohio or Oklahoma and Baylor, or you know, whatever the fuck's going down in the Big 12. I don't know.
But you know, look at it,
and it's been Georgia, Alabama. This is the second time we've done this.
Yeah.
With
and
these
the
teams.
third full, or out of 7 years, we've had 3 championship games now that we're all SEC, right?
Right.
We had Alabama, LSU the one time, and then 2 Georgia, Alabamas.
I will say though, like Cincinnati, thank you for participating. Here's your gift package.
I've got a theory on that. I think that Cincinnati and Alabama aren't that far apart talent-wise, first string. Where the teams like Cincinnati get in troubles when Alabama, when their defensive lineman gets tired, they roll in another 5-star recruit.
Yeah, that's why Alabama. That's why all the SEC teams have rolled.
Yeah, and I don't know how you fix that either. But I'll tell you this though: if you had gone with a bigger tournament field, Utah should have been in it, because that team's good. They're just good.
But I think going back to why Greg suggested Gary stop listening is, you know, we all thought that Cincinnati was going to be the team that was curb stomped,
right?
And they actually played Alabama, you know, as close as you could expect them to,
reasonably.
Yeah, close. Yeah, they were. Everybody's saying, well, there's a team that didn't deserve to be there. Yeah, it was Michigan.
I mean,
Cincinnati wasn't winning that game, but they played.
They did not embarrass themselves, whereas Michigan was flat out
pantsed.
Yeah, why were you invited?
Well, as Zach said, that was a uniform crime punishment.
Oh my god! It's like it's bad
the all blue is bad.
It's bad enough that you're Michigan, but now you fucked your uniforms up on top of it. What is the matter with that team? But no, I'm going to go on a quick thing about Michigan here, because I'm sick to fucking death of it at this point. all these media people and sports media people and all these pundits and experts acting like that this was just fait accompli, that Michigan justice had finally prevailed, and the great Jim fucking Harbaugh finally got where he deserved to be. Bullshit. He took advantage of a down year in the Big Ten and stumbled his ass into the playoff and showed us they're exactly what we always thought they fucking were. So fuck off, Michigan. We should have been there. Utah should have been there. I can think of 10 teams that would have done a better job than you assholes.
Well, no, Greg, you shouldn't have been there. You lost to Michigan.
I don't give a fuck. We're still better than they are. I don't care.
So wait, you're talking about future Bears GM / head coach Jim Harbaugh. I won't have that.
Is that really something people are talking about?
It's possible.
I said it last week. I'll say it again. He's a better NFL coach than he is a college coach. But you want to keep him around Michigan? Give him a lifetime fucking contract. I'm fine with that because
I just thought it was hilarious for the reasons kind of like Greg went over, where, you know, this is the year that he finally got over the hump. He finally beat Ohio State. He finally won the Big Ten title. He finally got into the playoffs, and it's like, this is what Michigan had been paying him for all these years. This was the expectation. He finally made it. And then Georgia just fucking shellacks him.
Well, not only that, but he kept going. It's a beginning. It's like, it's been 7 fucking years, dude. It's a beginning.
It's a beginning.
This is the end of that
Urban
cycle.
Meyer in his second year, the beginning second year, they won the national championship. So
Is this what were the past 6 years just warm-ups?
Yeah. Finally got his own team. I don't want to be that Ohio
By the
State
way,
fan.
this magical season for Michigan, they still lost to Michigan State. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. That's what I mean. They act like that Harbaugh. It wasn't that he just wasn't very good and his teams weren't very good. It was like just like this incredible line of miscarriages of justice for the last 6 years, and finally everything righted itself this year, and he finally gets in. It's like, no, they weren't any damn good to begin with. I'm sorry, and maybe I'm just bitter because I'm not used to losing to Michigan. It hasn't happened.
Gary's listening.
I haven't lost to Michigan in 18 fucking years. So I forgot what it feels like, but this is bullshit, and you're just not there yet. I'm sorry, so fuck off.
I'm sorry. Fuck off.
Well, you know, I gotta say, you have to temper all your thoughts on this because honestly, guys, college football players now, they just do not love the game of football.
Oh my
God! Don't even get me
What,
started.
what was this a thing? What's this? I've missed something.
So for some reason, and part of this, I want to like chalk it up to jet lag because they were using Kirk Herbstreit on like 6 different games in 5 days or whatever the hell it was. Him and Desmond Howard and Reese Davis. But Herbstreit and Desmond Howard on the college game day, ahead of the semifinal day. Or was it ahead of the Rose Bowl? Yeah, ahead of New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl. We're going off on this thing about how guys opting out of the games, these players don't care about the game anymore. They're just in it for the fame and the money, and with the NILs and all that shit. They don't love the game of football anymore. They like the fame and money that football brings. And it's like,
Basically he's being
garbage take.
Basically he's being a fucking boomer over the fact that the Supreme Court told the NCAA to stop being a fucking racket.
Yeah, well, and like, yeah, I don't blame these players for opting out. They have legitimate money futures to deal with, and it doesn't seem to bother the NCAA or these college football guys when the coaches get up and leave in the middle of the bowl season and take their money with them. But the players, how dare they?
I think there was a guy. There was the quarterback for Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah. Uh-huh.
He got hurt playing in a ball game, and there was this kid. I think probably if he gets drafted at all, it's like 6th, 7th round for Central Michigan. He's a good defensive lineman. With 4 minutes to go in the game, and if he was a legit prospect, he shouldn't have been playing. And he blows out his knee. And I mean, it wasn't like he'll be back in 3 weeks. It was like that might be a career ender.
Well, and did you hear Joe Tessitore on the call of the Fiesta?
He's doing it the right way. I mean, go fuck yourself, Joe.
Yeah. The kid the quarterback for Ole Miss just blew out a knee or whatever he did. And is probably going to hurt his draft prospects, but he's doing it the right way. Like,
well, that's what I mean. I mean, how much did that injury cost him? Do you think potentially $20 million, maybe
millions easily?
Yeah. So Joe Tessitore wants to sit back and talk about doing it the right way. I like college football, and I love, the best team you can put on the field. That should be the one that's out there. But I don't blame a single one of these kids for going, you know what? My future is in the NFL, not playing a pointless exhibition game in Boca Raton, fucking Florida, for 35 people. I don't blame them a bit. And just sit there and call them out is nonsense.
The game has changed since guys like Desmond and Kirk Herbstreit were in college. I
don't think anybody thought of it.
Completely different. No. You would never jump out of a bowl game, or coaches weren't leaving for these big paychecks in the middle of it all either. It was different. And this is part of the change, is that, yes, the coaches have been allowed to do that. Now the players are taking their own agency to do something for themselves, and good on them. I do not regret them one inch.
No, this it reminds me a little bit of a dialogue I was having on Twitter with McCarthy about earlier today about Mark Schlereth. Mark Schlereth tweeted he just tweeted a dumbass thing about the Bengals, just being stupid, and it basically. Let me pull it up here. I should have had this ready.
Whenever I hear Mark Schlereth on a call for Fox, by the way, I'm always like, oh my God, is that ESPN Mark Schlereth? Oh my God.
Yeah, so Mark Schlereth, he works for Fox Sports now. He said, Bengals, you're all so cute. Congrats on your playoff win. Oh, wait, your last playoff win was 1991. Win something and get at me. And it was just dude? Yeah, so basically what it was, and it's very plain. Some social media guy at Fox Sports basically said, hey, Mark, we need some eyes. We need some ad revenue. Can you just put a dumbass take on Twitter real quick? Just say something stupid. And yeah, sure, I guess. And so there's here's some just completely hollow shit talk about the Bengals. Like it's sad.
A young up and coming team won a division title. What is?
Well, I mean, we're rivals with the Browns and all that, but I'm rooting for them. I'm not. Come on, man.
Get at me when you win a guy. Yeah, bro, you're staying, man.
I always try so hard every show to not just de-evolve into go fuck yourself guy, but here I am again.
No, that take deserves a roundly, like, Twitter should have put a warning on it, said this user has been told to go fuck himself.
Yeah,
for this post. Like, come on, this is a dumbass take.
Well, yeah, I hope the Bengals. I mean, I'm okay if they take it all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm fine with that. There's nobody in their way that I would not want them to beat. I can think of. Yeah. So good for them. I just understand. But
two little notes on the bowl season as it almost comes to a close. By the way, before we go, the Pac-12, a solid 0-8, 0-9 in the bowl season. Big old goose egg. Good job.
They should have beaten Ohio State, Utah, and I you know what? I was actually hoping they would, because Ohio State didn't need that one. Utah, it would have made their whole season. It would have been great.
Yeah,
sorry.
And then the other thing, which delights,
and they're still better than Michigan, Gary. Sorry, go ahead.
Which delights all of us to no end. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl had to be canceled this season. Oh darn! Yeah, Boise State.
And it's payout of what? $25 and a Chili's gift card.
Yeah, Boise State had to pull out due to COVID, and then Central Michigan went to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl instead.
And got like $4.6 million, right?
Yeah.
Good for them, man. Good for the Chips. I'm happy for them. They won.
And they won the game. They were part of the goose egg for the Pac-12 by beating Washington State.
That was a good game. But like I said, that defensive lineman, just like he was crying as they carted him off the field. So, I think he was like, my NFL dream just went up in smoke. So I don't want to go back to that, but
yeah,
that's why, just sit it out. It's not worth it.
Yeah. But guys, if you have the time tonight, pour some out for El Presidente losing his bowl for Barstool.
Fuck him. I mean, I like what he did by helping out small businesses, but other than that, the guy's a slime ball.
Oh yeah, he's a giant jackass.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
it's about that time, guys.
Yeah, it's about closing time.
You can start listening again. I'm done bashing. You know what? Have your moment. I get it. It's not you. It's not believe it or not, it's not even Michigan fans that made me feel this way. It was the fucking experts that acted like Jim Harbaugh had accomplished something great when it was just, one of those things. So I apologize for taking some of the shine off your buzz there, but you guys did a good enough job of that on your own against Georgia, so you didn't need my help. All right. Just can't stop twisting that.
Yeah, so just go walk this one off, Greg. Just let it ride.
And then one final note: Notre Dame 0-8 in the BCS New York 6 Bowl era.
Who'd they lose to this? Oh, they lost to
Oklahoma State in the
that's
Fiesta
right.
Bowl.
They had that, State had that big comeback against them.
Yeah.
I watched. I don't know. I'm so sick of college football at this point because I just it was like for the week. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep watching bowl game after bowl game. I don't even know who played who at this point, but
yeah, it doesn't really matter.
It was fun though.
Yeah.
All right, we done?
I think that's it.
Yep. We'll have to save some stuff for next week. We'll see the results of the picks, and we can talk playoffs since the matchups will pretty much be set, I believe, unless Monday night.
And I promise I won't rip on Michigan next week.
Yeah,
Probably.
whatever, man. It's our show. You can do whatever the fuck you want, dude.
That's right. I canceled. You know what? Once again, Michigan, go fuck yourselves.
On that note.
On that note, we'll call it a night. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the YouTubes, and wherever fine podcasting is sold. We'll see y'all next time.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Later.